if you see here, these are the steps. So Madhu, if you want to go to the Selenium ID again, go to Firefox, go to tools and Selenium ID and you will get here. Okay, you can record and run again. So now see here, this is Selenium ID. You can record, you can run. What you can do? So this is testing. No. Is this testing? You will run this, for example, tomorrow. After 10 versions of Whitebox QA, after like 1 year of Whitebox QA, you still run this. Oh, it is logging in, login is working fine. What else? Good. But do you think that enterprise apply testing will be as simple as this one? Is enterprise testing going to be as simple as this one? Okay. Alright, Anu Koduri says that it still asks me. Okay, I can't help it then. Alright, no problem about joint webinar. Yes, Shaukat, if you have a question, please type in there. Okay, so or raise a hand if you want to talk really. Yeah. So, Selenium IDE, what does IDE mean? What does IDE mean? Can anyone tell me? Integrated Development Environment. Okay. Alright. Shaukat, tell me, what is your question?
Yeah, question is, every time when I am disconnecting, this is the first time I'm using your system, every time when a person is disconnected.
So, what is an IDE mean? IDE means Integrated Development Environment. So, tell me some of the IDEs which are not Selenium IDE, other than Selenium IDE. Please tell me some of the IDEs. Please tell me some of the IDEs which you came across, which you want. No, JRE is not an IDE. Eclipse is an IDE. Eclipse, Visual Studio, perfect. Toad, SQL developer, PL SQL developer. QTP is an IDE. Perfect, Mangala. I can't deny that. Yes, QTP is an IDE. But QTP is an IDE for only QTP scripting, but VB scripting also can be done in QTP. Perfect. I can't deny that. Any other IDs? Tell me. Any other ID? SOAP UI for SOAP, you can say. XML editor, some like for example XML Spy for XML editing. Even for example, if you want to, other than Visual Studio, for like for example any PHP, Netscape, JDeveloper, all these are ID. Notepad++ is also an ID. All these are ID. IDs are nothing but tools which help you in doing programming or configuration or that kind of development easier. Is Selenium an IDE really? It's a tool, small dummy tool, right? It's really, this is an IDE, but I do not know who named the Selenium tools, did not name them right. Okay, I do not know what this guy was thinking when he named IDE, but he named it IDE, so we have to tell it IDE. But really now we are not doing any programming there, any development there, we are only recording and stop. Okay, alright. So it is nothing but a easy to use Firefox plugin and generally the most efficient way to develop test cases. Okay, it's nothing but a context menu on Firefox. Context menu on Firefox. What is a context menu? Can anyone tell me? What is a context menu? Anyone? Context menu means? Anyone? Please tell me. Right click. When you right click, the menu is nothing but on that context. For example, I am right clicking here. Whatever the options I get is according to where I clicked. Agreed? If I right click here, I will get this context of the taskbar. When I right click it, context web page. If I right click here, context of the browser. Context menu means nothing but right click. Okay, so if you see here, there is something verified text present. Do you see this one? This is nothing but Selenium IDE tool only. So Selenium IDE tool is not only inside the tools and here, it is also inside the context menu too. Okay, we will see why that is there. Okay, now Selenium IDE looks like this. We have already seen that. Okay, let's go by Selenium ID one by one. For example, again I want to, this is the Selenium ID. Okay, it is been recording so much on my site, it's okay, no problem. So I will record it again, go here, I will record it here, log out, and just go back to home page, and I will start recording. Okay, let's click login, and let's click the user ID, and let's click the, go to the, let's say, diagrams. I want to make sure this value is present. What is testing? Can anyone tell me? What is testing? What is a test case? Tell me what is a test case. The definition of a test case. I already told you. What is the definition of a test case? I don't care. Put it in your own words, but you know what it is. Please tell me what it is. You know what it is. Testing means verification or validation. Finally, every test case is nothing but a set of inputs with execution conditions where you get a result which you compare with the expected. The validation of the expected versus the actual is nothing but testing. Right? You expected. So for example, I logged in into the site. I went into diagrams and I should see this diagram. If I see this diagram, my test passed. Right? I'm looking for this diagram. So I will say here again, I will say verify text present. Do you see this one? It will add something, and I will say logout, and I will say go back to this. Alright, now if you go here, see this one, steps, see the steps here. Open, click and wait, login, type username, type password, click login button again, go to diagrams, and remove this one, remove this one. That is nothing but right click, disable. So verify text present, this link is there, then log out. Means if you see that my test is passed. Got it? So if when you are running, see, I want to run it very slowly. It ran very quick. I want to see what it is running. So I want it to run very slowly, one by one at a time. Let's see now. See, it is going very slowly, one by one. Okay, very good. It will go to diagrams. It will see that one. Okay, and do you see on this verify text present, is it green or red? What does that mean? It found it. It validated it. So it passed. And the test case is this one. So everything inside Selenium is a test case. Do you see this a test case? So I can say this test case as now. I can say this as properties, and I can go and say this name as, for example, I will say login and diagram check. Diagram check test. Diagram test. Got it? Now if you see here, you can go. So I can have this one. Again, now I can create a new test case. Now for example, inside this I want to record something else. What I want to record here? For example, I want to record here. Let's go here and let's say I will do this one. Now I want to go and check code. Log in and like let's say check for a template. And I will check for the sample project plan template. Okay, log out and go back here and stop this one and delete this one. So what will I name this one as? Properties, and I will name this one as login and templates. Got it? Login and templates. Alright, so this login and diagram test, and when I click this one, run both of them, run all of them. When I click this one, whatever you selected, so there can be many test cases in my thing, and this is called test suite. What is a test suite? What is a test suite? What is a test suite? Very good, Archana. You tried to answer what is a test case, and very good. Really, that is correct. Test suite is nothing but collection of test cases. Test suite is nothing but collection of test cases. Do you see this one? So I can run all the test suite. So one is test suite. So now when I want to save this, if you see here, save this, save test case as. So you can save this only one test case, or you can say save test suite as. I want to save it. Let's say I want to save it my first test suite. Got it? And oh, it is asking for different for each one, and I will say this is my second test case actually. Test case. Okay, it is asking for each case separately. What? Okay, now let's go back. Let's go back and go to the first test suite, and if you see here, go and see edit. Go and see edit. Or open with edit plus. What is inside this one? Okay, one second. It's HTML. So what is the scripting language used? What is the scripting language used? What is the language inside this one? What is the language inside this one? What is this language? Please tell me. HTML, it's HTML. I know it's XML on the top. It's XHTML. But HTML. This is this HTML, everything. It's HTML. But I agree there is a XML tag, so you can tell this as XHTML. But HTML only. XHTML also a HTML. Got it? Alright, very good. I really liked what you have seen here. Very good, but it's HTML. So the script is coming as HTML. This is very strange, right? Have you seen any testing tool saving your test script as HTML? No. Is a HTML a programming language? HTML a programming language or markup language? Markup language. What is markup language mean? What is programming language mean? What does markup language mean? What does programming language mean? Please tell me. You are marking a text with a tag is a markup. Why are you marking a text with a tag? For style, for business, for some other things. Right? Why am I marking this text with this tag? Because it is inside a table and this column. That is why I am marking with this tag. Why am I putting this title tag to this? Because it should show on the title of the browser. Why am I marking this some other thing bold or anything? I want it bold. So I am marking it to give presentation, or I am marking it to give in XML for business. Can I do a for loop inside HTML? Can I do a if else condition in HTML? No, you can't do anything like that. It's a dummy markup language, right? Not a programming language. It's not really dummy. It's a good, powerful language, but you can't do all this. Then how can the Selenium save its script as HTML? Yes, Selenium saves on the browser everything as HTML, but it is not really HTML. Okay, so that is why if you see here, there is a table view, there is a source view. I know I am not giving a break. I will give a break in 2 minutes. Okay, all right. So there is a table view, there is a source view. Do you see this source view? Source view. Source view is the code, same code. Remember in QTP there is a keyword view and there is a expert view. But trust me, you are not an expert. Okay, here that's why they didn't name me here a expert or something. So there is a keyword view, there is a expert view similar to that. Okay, so now table source is HTML. Okay, now on every command, if you click on that command, open means open the login page, right? This is the URL. Type into a box. So there is a command tells what to do. Selenium command. This is a Selenium command. Opening a web page. Type means typing into a text box. And where it is typing? Username box. And what it is typing? Value. Target is on which HTML element? This is a HTML box, right? See, everything on a web page is a HTML element. Command works on a HTML element. So what is the command? Type. Where it is working on the username box, and what it is doing on it? It is entering my email address. Okay. So that is why every step in Selenium contains three things: the command, target, and the value. So you can go and see the reference. What does type means? Type is a command from Selenium. So you can see type is taking a locator and a value. What is a locator? The string given here to identify this box is locator. Got it? The string given here to identify this box is locator. The string given here to enter into that box is the value. Got it? So locator and value. So a Selenium script is nothing but a series of commands, Selenium commands, which has targets and values. Agree? So other than that, there are some more things which we will talk about after break. Alright, so let's see why it is called IDE, and let's see some of the functionality of IDE. See, we have already seen these buttons, like for example, if I do fast, if I do slow, I can run all the test suite, I can run the test case which I selected, I can run the test case which I selected, and then for example, when I am running, for example, I am running this, it is running very slowly, it is running very slowly. See, it is coming one step, two step. I will say pause. Now it is paused. Let's go to the site. Hold on. What happened? Okay, let's go back again. Let's go back to stop actually. Okay, okay, no problem. Now it is starting again. See, I will ask it to pause. It's paused here. It will not do anything. I want to do one step at a time. So I will say step in, step, one step. It is asking for, it is waiting for me. So this is actually generally the debugging used by the developers. Generally every IDE like Visual Studio, SQL developers, and for example J developer, Eclipse, everything has a debugging, right? You can debug code one step at a time. So that is the reason they have this debugging here also, one step at a time. You can take it one step. So this is pause, this is step in. Okay. So other than that, what do you have for IDE? So there is something called roll up rules. I will tell you what does that mean. In IDE, everything is based, this is the test case pane. Means all the steps in the test case go into here, and you have a table and you have a source view. Agree? In the table, when you click one, you'll get command, target, and value. Agree? Now if you see here, when you run everything, it comes into log. For example, I am running everything. See, it will create a log. See, it will create a log. Log is nothing but run. Every run will be logged. Okay. All right. Let's make it faster. See, the log is just empty. Reference means on a command, if you click this command open, it will give you the reference of that command from Selenium documentation. UI element and roll up. What are this? Okay, I'll tell you. All right. Okay. Now, Selenium. What does open mean? Opening a web page, right? Opening a web page. What does type mean? Type mean typing into a text box, What does, for example, let's go and see, click and wait means click a link or a button and wait, right? Click and wait means click and wait means click a link and wait for some seconds. Got it? These are this one. These are called Selenium. Who defined this? Who defined this? Please tell me. Who defined them? Selenium. Who defined them? So all the commands are called Selenese commands. Selenese means a Selenium command. So that is the name they have given for commands. So they call it Selenese commands. Means all the commands given by the Selenium are called Selenium commands. So these are all our commands, Selenium commands. So someone will ask, tell me some of the Selenium commands. Oh, open, type, click and wait, and all these are Selenium commands. Now, inside the Selenium commands, these are given by the Selenium. You can play with some things. For example, what is that paying call? You can create a UI element. What is a UI element? I will tell you now. Okay, UI element. These are some of the very important concepts in Selenium IDE, but which won't be used much in real life, testing, but they will be asked for interviewers favorite questions. These are, okay, I will tell you what does that mean. How does Selenium know that it has to enter this one into this one? How did Selenium know that it has to enter this? It has to enter whatever here is given, is given here into this one. Please tell me. How does Selenium know that whatever the email address I given should be entered into this box only? I'm asking everyone. It has look the format. What is the format? Tell me please. What is the format? How did it identify this one? How did it identify this box? Why it is not entering this one into this one? Why it is only entering into this one? How can it differentiate? These two are text boxes only. How can it only put this one into this one? How can it put this one into this one? How can it identify? How can it differentiate? How can it... What is hard coded? Tell me. I agree. But what is the exact value it is using this? Think like you are Selenium now. You are Selenium. This is the script. This is the script, right? This is the script I am running. So by using what you went and found this box. Think like you are Selenium. So when I ask some questions like this, you should think like I am Selenium. So this is the script. How do I identify that box? No. If you see here, what is the target here for this step? What is the target? Name is equal to username. Now let's go and look at the HTML source on this one. This is the page source, right? What is the page source means? The HTML behind this page. What is the HTML? And if you go and look at the username box, where is the username box? This one is the username box. What is the name of that? Username. Is there any other tag inside HTML, inside this HTML which has the same name? Is there any other tag inside this HTML which has the same name? No. Got it? So what is Selenium using? Selenium is using find a HTML element which has a name equal to username. Which one has the name equal to username? This one. And put what inside it? Put this one inside it. Great. Similarly, find a type means input tag means doesn't have to be input tag. Find do this typing command. Selenium execute the type command from Selenium on this. Find a element with name equal to password. And enter the password into that. Agree? So how it is identifying elements now? Tell me. How it is identifying? Shilpi is asking me what if there is no name? Yes, we will come there. There is name now. What if there is no name? Yes, very good. So now tell me HTML elements have ID, name. You can use ID also, right, in HTML elements. What is ID? ID is unique. Name doesn't have to be unique. Agreed? Name does not have to be unique. Does not have to be unique. For example, I will tell you why I am telling this. Okay. I don't have a drop down in my site. Generally, for example, if you go into, let's say, let's go into some other site, new tools.demo.aut.com. Got it? Okay, I will tell you. Ajit Paul is asking me if I enter password, will it go into password? No, it's not about password or anything. It's not about the order. In this step, I went into login page. In this step, I said find the username box and do this. If I say find the password box and do this, before it will do it. How you where and what? Where contains, in the where it is using what? Name to find out the element. It is using the name attribute, HTML attributes. For example, here, if you see, let's go and see the page source of this one. Okay, departing from. Got it? Name is from port. Okay, all right. So for example, let's say name, there is a name for this one, name is this one. Sometimes there will be IDs also. So most of the time names and IDs will be unique. Most of the time name and ID are very good matching and will be unique, so you can use that. Now Shilpi asked me a question, what if there is no name or ID on the element? For example, let's see, if you see here inside this first one, this one, it is using first one, it said link is equal to, do you see this one, link is equal to, it is using link is equal to, agree? So it can use the link name also. So if it is a link, it can use the name of the link, name of the link. What if it is not a link? What if it is not a link and it does not have name and ID? Okay. For example, I want to, let's say I will go to Google. Okay. I want to use Selenium ID here. Now see this one. I will create a new test case, and this one, and I will say this one as www.google.com, and I will say record it, and I will say click on this one and click on this one and move this one. I won't record that, don't worry. All right. So what it is using, CSS equal to this one. Okay, do not worry. And for example, I want to click on this one. You see this one, I clicked on this one, right? I clicked on something. What did it use in the identifier? What do you think this one is? What do you think that one is? What do you think that one is? There is no name, there is no ID. So it used this string to identify. What is that string? Anyone? Please tell me. No, Elena, these are not comments. Anyone? How many of you went through W3 schools and learned XML? How many of you went through W3 schools and learned XML? I know some people can answer this one. I don't want the regular people to answer this one. How many of you went through W3 schools and learned XML? It's okay, please tell me. Alright. So what is a XML document? What is a XML document? What is a XML document? It's a document where you have child-parent relationships and you can send information from one machine to another machine. It can be machine readable format. For example, I have a XML like this note. note, note, right? Note. And I will say date, 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 and I will say message, message, message. Got it? This is a XML, right? And I will say, for example, like 1 4 4 20 2012 2012, and in the message hello, something like that. Now remember, when I put something in a table, in a database, think like in a database there is in a table, I put something inside there. How will I look that back? For example, there is a notes table, notes table, notes, notes, and it has columns note id, note id, and date, message, to, and from. Got it? To and from. For example, there is a notes 1, like this, date and all this thing. For example, I want to find out, I want to see note id 4. I want to see note id 4. How will I check it? I want to see note id 4. This is a database. This is a database, so I have a notes table. Inside that there are so many nodes. I want to see a note id 4. And Rashmi is given XML definition and very good. Yes, perfect. How will I get a note from this notes table? Please tell me. It's okay. Most of you know it. How do I see how many notes are there? How do I look if something is there in database? What is that I use? What is that I use? For example, this is a database, like Oracle database. This is Oracle. So, for example, what did I ask you to do on Oracle? Tell me, what do I do? SQL. I do SQL. I do a select statement. I do a select star from notes. Notes. If I want only the note ID 4, where note ID is equal to 4. Got it? I do SQL to extract what is inside this one. Agree? Select count from nodes for counting the nodes. I don't want to go deeper. SQL is the language to query databases. Is there a language to query this XML? Is there a language to query XML? Is there a language to query XML? Is there a language to query XML? That is called XQuery. XQuery. So XQuery is the SQL. XQuery inside the SQL is the language. XQuery is the language. But what is this? It is a command. It is the command to get that note with note ID 4. Similar, XPath is the path to command to get something from a XML document. For example, now you ask me that, give me a XPath to get this message. I will tell that XPath, I will tell that start with note and go to message. You'll get this one. So this is the path to get to this message. Go to note and this one. For example, you have so many messages here. You have so many messages. You have so many messages. Now you will ask me, give me the second message. Give me the second message. Or I can say that now go to note, go to message and give me the second message. XPath is the query string to query something. This is starting from note if you use. For example, if you directly want to start here, message. Message means go directly to this one. So what do you think it is using here? What do you think it is? XPath, HTML is also XML. HTML is also XML. So it is asking go and find a unordered list which has this ID. Inside that go to the list and inside that find a link, inside that find a span. That is the element you clicked it. Agree? That is the element you clicked it. So for example on anything, if you don't know anything about that, but at least you know the path of it. How do you know the path of it? If you look at anything, if you look at for example any source, you start with HTML. This is for example, this is table, inside this tr, inside this one, anything there is a path to that. That is nothing but XPath is a path to get to that element. That might be inside a HTML element or an XML element. Okay, so XPath is the string to get to that. See, we are on a tree. XPath is a tree. XML is a tree. HTML is a tree. So you might tell that, for example, you might ask some kid to give me that fruit from on the tree. How he climbs is a path. He gets onto the root. He goes onto. Someone will directly jump onto a branch. Most of the time, you directly jump onto a branch. That is double slash. If you start from the root, one slash. So you should know XPath. You should know XML. It's not only about web services. That's what I'm trying to tell. You should know XPath because you are not a Selenium expert if you don't know XPath. So go back W3 schools, read XPath and CSS. Trust me, I will do Sunday mock on web services. I want you to finish XML, HTTP, XPath, CSS, WSDL, SOAP and SOAP UI. I don't know if you sleep or not. Okay? Alright? Trust me. Selenium, you are a Selenium expert. You are a test engineer. That is your goal tomorrow. Alright? XPath and CSS. Remember, so there is a famous interview question in Selenium. What are the locating patterns you used in Selenium? I will come back to that. That is really explained nicely in some other slide. There are 9 patterns. We will go through them. What are the locating patterns you used in Selenium? People will say I used ID name, but no one is looking for this from you. They are looking for I used XPath, I used CSS, I used DOM. No one will use DOM much. I used links. I used regular expressions. Okay. So most used one are these two. So please learn it. Okay, or you can find it in my recordings of old Selenium class recording 7 or 8, and one will have XPath and one will have CSS. Alright, yeah. Coming back, now in Selenium ID you don't need this much, but why I am telling you Selenium ID, there is something called, for example, now you want to get to, for example, I closed the Selenium ID, for example, sorry, where is Selenium ID? Yeah, and I will open that test suite, and where is that? Yeah, what? It's okay. Alright, so for example, now see this one, I want to record it again, whitebox QA. I want to click on login. I want to then do login. Okay, see, instead of using this name, I want to use something else now. For example, I want to say give me input tag with name equal to username. I am using XPath style. Or I can say give me the first input tag. I don't care. What is the first input tag? Username only. Got it? So you can do this kind of stuff to identify that. But think like, if you are doing so many things with the same username box, for example, I am entering, I am removing, I am entering again, I am removing again. For example, we used XPath for this login box. For example, I will say this one, input box. and type input 3. Give me the third input. How many times do you think I will click login box? 10 times, 20 times. Every time do I have to use input 3? Why don't we put it a nice name so that we remember it back? So what I'm using here, the command is click and wait. I'm using click and wait. Click and wait on what? Click and wait on what? I'm using on in this XPath. This XPath. But when you use XPath, you don't know really which business element is it. When you're using name, you know that, oh, that is username. We know that what we are clicking. But here, when someone comes and read it, he doesn't. This is why Selenium asks you to create something called UI elements. UI element. A UI element is nothing but a mapping an XPath to a name so that you can use the name instead of XPath. Okay, where will I create? You have to write a JavaScript. You have to write a JavaScript program. You have to write a JavaScript program in Selenium. Write a JavaScript program in Selenium, and I will tell that my UI element, I will say this is a UI element, and I will say this one is like, for example, login, and inside that I will give something like some JavaScript, and what is that? Inside the JavaScript I will supply this XPath. Supply this XPath means for this XPath I am giving, I am mapping it to name what? Login. So in future when I do this one, I will use login. I will say login. I will say login, but there is no really a element with name login or ID login. But there is a mapping between a XPath to that ID, that is called UI element. See, in the old days when Selenium was created, it was pure JavaScript library. Selenium is not HTML. Selenium, this core Selenium is JavaScript. Now I will ask you one thing. There is open this one, when I run this one, how do you think it opened that one there? How do you think it opened that one there? This is HTML. Selenium read this HTML, and how do you think it opened this login.php page? How do you think? If I write, say type, how it is typing there? Is there some kind of magic or something? What is the technology used by Selenium? What is the technology used by Selenium? JavaScript. It is all JavaScript. You can use JavaScript to do anything, right? To add pop-ups, to do something, to you can JavaScript is the language understood by all browsers. So by using JavaScript, I can say Selenium is internally using JavaScript to do all this automation, but outside it is exposing you HTML. So your HTML is read by Selenium, but every command is mapped to a JavaScript. So when it says type, it is writing JavaScript. Got it? So when you did the right click, I stopped the right click on this site. How did I stop the right click on this site? Using JavaScript. So when I wrote a program in my PHP that when someone right clicks on my site, please show this pop-up. How can I do it? Because of JavaScript. Similarly, Selenium can do everything by JavaScript. That is the reason if you want to do UI element mapping, you have to write JavaScript. So in the old Selenium core, that is called Selenium core. The core programming is done. The core programming of Selenium is done in JavaScript. So if you know JavaScript, you don't have to use RC, ID or anything. You can directly play with JavaScript, but no one would like to, because JavaScript is scripting language. You can't do validations. It is not compiled. It is huge, and you should be a very good developer for that, which we are not. Java and all this are easy, right? You can't maintain so much of code in JavaScript. All right. So that is the reason. So first thing, UI element. What is a UI element? It's nothing but a mapping from XPath to a name so that Selenium can identify that element by the XPath, but we can use the name for the script. Next thing, what is a page set? Page set is nothing but a collection of UI map. Means a UI mapping is nothing but a single element to single name. But on a page you can have 10 elements. You can have 10 elements to 10 names. But page set is collection of elements from a same page. What is a page set? Please tell me. Page set is collection of UI elements on a page is called page set. Then there is UI map. Collection of page sets is UI map. UI map, collection of page sets. And trust me, even people who are interviewing you tomorrow for Selenium will not know this, because they never worked on core. No one will work on Selenium core, so no one will know that. Okay. Then there is one more thing I want to talk to you, that is called roll up. Roll up means, for example, in my thing, like for example in my test suite, if you see this test suite, it is, how many test cases are there inside this? Two test cases, right? Remember, I wrote two test cases. One is to login and diagram test, one is login and template test. And both of them, what is the common thing in both of them? Yes, login. I have to go there, I have to enter, I have to log in, then go for templates, then go for diagrams. So these four steps: open, login, this username, this password, and click this one. This is common for both of them, right? So for doing anything in my site, I have to have the steps common. Why don't I put the steps into one, my own command? See, open, who created open command? Selenium. Who created click command? Selenium. Why don't I put these four commands into one command and say login command, my own command? That is called roll up. Roll up is nothing but rolling some commands of your own thing. Roll up, rolling up your own commands in Selenium for custom functionality. Roll up. That is roll up. And again, to do all these things, what you have to write? JavaScript. No one does it. Trust me, no one does it. But why do you need it? Oh, my developers wrote this. I know what this means. That's it. That guy will be quiet. Got it? We used to have this one. So this is the one thing. So let's see something. So Selenium ID, one thing I want to talk about Selenium ID, it's HTML. Can I do programming? Can I do logic inside this? No. If I want to use the same script for different login, can I do that? No data driven, no modularity, no functionality. Selenium ID is not created for testing. It is only created to create templates. The basic template will be extracted from here, but the real logic of that script will go into Java or something. I will get back to that later. Okay. So what is the language? Selenium core, find up this. Actually, Attar gave me a good point today. On the site, all the slides are not latest. They don't have quizzes. I will take some time tonight or tomorrow and I will create all the latest slides.